My dear students, as we are discussing about competency-based interviewings, now we have to talk about the forward-looking interviews. Forward-looking interviews, as the name indicates, they talk about more forward-looking approach. They would talk more about the questions which are relevant to the future. So forward-looking interviews are like backward-looking in variety, with, as you would expect, one important difference: they look forward to what candidates might do instead of asking, can you give me an example of? So you are not asking such kind of question, can you give me an example of? You are asking what kind of things you would do in future. They ask to consider the situation, what would you do? Because of this format, they are usually referred to as situational interview. Again, they fit easily into a competency framework. Dear student, it is very much important that the questions need to be fit with the competency framework. If your questions in the forward-looking interviews are not relevant to the competency-based framework, obviously it would not validate the question in a proper way. It would not make the question more reliable. So you have to ask what you would like to judge. And what you would like to judge, these all things are mentioned in the competency-based framework. However, they are quite intensive to design. It is not easy to design forward-looking interviews. Also, the interviewer needs at least 3 model answers. So for one question, you may have 3 model answers, and then you have to compare the answer of the candidates with those 3 model answers, and then you can judge whether the candidate is answering in a proper manner or his answers are not quite relevant to the 3 model answers. So it is very much important to develop the framework and then ask questions, and also develop the answers and then ask questions, so you can relate the answer of the candidate with the 3 model answers. It has been suggested that the situational interview in particular is no more than an orally administered cognitive ability test. So it is more than orally administered cognitive ability test. That person seemed to have been bonded with the emergence of evidence that interviewer can contribute incrementally to validity over and over above ability tests. So their validity is better than ability test. Even if we don't always know what they are measuring, you can measure the right thing. Canadian investigators showed that a situational interview is more likely to be measure of particular than traditional intelligence. So forward-looking interviews are much different from the backward-looking interview, are different from the biographical interview, because in this case, you are just judging not the traditional intelligence. You are judging something more than the traditional intelligence. You are asking questions which are related to their future performance. You are giving them a different situations, and based on those situations, you are asking for the different kind of answers. So that's why such kind of interviews are also called as a situational interviews, and you can get an idea that if one particular situation would be given to the candidates, how the person would behave, how the person would act, and those questions must be related to the competency-based framework, so we can get an idea that how good the person is giving an answers. So it is important to develop questions, but it is very much important to develop 3 model answers. And why you need to build 3 model answers? So you can compare the answers of the candidate with the 3 model answers, and you would get an idea that how closest the answer of the person is with the competency-based interview. So if the answers are closest to the competency-based framework and the 3 model answers, you can say that the person is more suitable for this particular job.